A normal bee colony consists of one queen, thousands of workers, and hundreds of drones. The queen is the mother of all individuals in the colony, but without any motherly instinct to tend or feed her brood. The sole function of the queen is to lay eggs. A queen lays two types of eggs, fertilized and unfertilized. The queen and worker bees develop from fertilized eggs, and the drones develop from unfertilized eggs. The queen lives for 3 to 5 years and can lay 1,500 to 2,000 eggs a day. The drone is the male member of the colony. They are reared only during late spring to early summer. Their main function is to mate with the queen bee. They do not take part in any of the colony activities. There are a few hundred of drones in a colony. They live from 6 to 8 weeks. The workers are the largest group in the colony. There are generally 10,000 to 15,000 workers in a colony in early spring and around 60,000 around the peak of the season. The worker bees are females which do not have the fully developed reproductive organs. They carry out all work of the colony, such as cleaning cells, feeding larvae, cleaning the hive, building combs, evaporating water from honey, guarding and ventilating the hive, and gathering pollen, nectar, water, and propolis. They live from 4 to 6 weeks in the summer and 4 to 5 months in the winter.
One of the field activity of the worker bees is to carry out the job of scouting. That is, searching out the sources of nectar, pollen, propolis, water, and home sites. When a scout bee finds a new food source, she returns to the hive and communicates the information to her other nest mates. The mode of communication among honey bees is quite interesting. It is based on pheromones, that is, chemical communication and body movements, which is termed as dancing.
A pheromone is a chemical substance secreted by one insect, which acts as a chemical stimulus to another insect, and thus provides a code for communication. Some major components of this substance have been isolated, and these materials stimulate different biological reactions. Two main chemicals identified from the mandibular gland of queen are 9-oxo-trans-2-decanoic acid and 9-hydroxy-trans-2-decanoic acid. The 9-oxo-trans-2-decanoic acid is basically a sex pheromone, but it also has a variety of other functions. It inhibits development of workers' ovaries and prevents worker bees from rearing queen. However, complete inhibition of queen rearing is brought about by other odoriferous substances produced by the queen, together with 9-oxo-trans-2-decanoic acid. 9-hydroxy-trans-2-decanoic acid, together with 9-oxo-trans-2-decanoic acid, helps the bees to stabilize a swarm around the queen. Besides these two acids, the secretion of nasal gland of worker bees seems to control the stabilization of swarm, and thus all the three together function as aggregation pheromones. The nasal gland of the worker bee is present in the 7th abdominal tergite. The queen pheromones also stimulate the bees to build combs and to forage and influence other colony activities. The bees deprived of queen pheromones are found in obvious distress. The worker bees emit hormones as well. The major active component of the worker bee's alarm pheromone is isopentyl acetate, which is produced by the cells lining the sting pouch. Bees frequently position themselves at hive entrance with their abdomens pointing upward and fanning over the exposed scent gland and dispersing the national pheromone to aid the returning and disoriented bees to locate their hive entrance. If they find a new source of food material, they secrete this pheromone to mark the location for other bees. This pheromone is also released upon finding their queen, who they lost contact with momentarily.
The most interesting form of communication among honeybees is based on dancing, that is body movements. When a bee, commonly called a scout, discovers a new food source, she returns to the hive and communicates this information to the foragers of her colony by means of dances.
Von Frisch in 1953 discovered and described these dances as round dance and wagtail dance. When the food source is located within 100 meters range from the hive, the bee performs the round dance. In this dance, no information on distance or direction are given. In this dance, the bee runs round in a small circle on the comb. After completing the circle, she turns round and starts to dance back round the circle in the opposite direction, repeating these circles again and again. The bees around the dancer are greatly excited. They follow her as she dances, keeping their antennae near her body to receive odor information, which aids them to find the food source in the field.
She may continue to dance for several seconds to over a half minute at the same spot. She may then perform the dance at another spot on the comb to recruit more bees, and then she leaves the hive hurriedly to gather more food.
Consequently, the newly recruited bees fly in all directions within the 100 meters radius to search for the food. When the gatherer returns to the hive with a reward, she may also dance.
Thus, foragers are recruited in great numbers. However, the number of foragers dancing in the hive is related to the quantity and quality of the food source, distance from the hive, competition, temperature, and many other factors. This enables the forager bees from a colony maximum exploitation of the food source to increase their food collection efficiency.
If the food source is located more than 100 meters away from the hive, the scout bee performs the Wagtail Dance. This dance provides information to the recruits regarding the direction and the distance to the food source. In this dance, the scout bee runs a short distance in a straight line, very quickly from side to side, wagging its abdomen and producing a buzzing sound, and then does a semicircle back till she reaches the imaginary line on which she was dancing originally. When she gets back to this line again, she makes a semicircle in the opposite direction, thus completing a full circle. It is believed that the distance to the food source from the nest is indicated by the time spent or the sound produced during the straight part of the wagtail dance. The direction is indicated in relation to the line of gravity, which corresponds to the position of sun outside the hive. If the dancer bee runs straight up on the comb, it indicates that the food source is directly towards the sun. If it runs straight downwards, it indicates the food source is away from the sun. A straight run at any angle to the left or right of vertical means that the food source is either on the left or on the right of the sun. The bee performs the dance a number of times in one location and then moves to another spot on the comb and repeats this dance.
Both round dance and wagtail dances are also used to inform nestmates about the location of propolis, water, and new home sites. The dancing bee may also give to the recruit bees a small taste of nectar she has brought in. This not only enables the bees to detect the new food source but also to determine its sweetness.
Recruit bees also use odor cues during their search to locate the flowers in the field. The source of these olfactory cues are pheromones released by the foragers at the food source. The odor of the flowers adheres strongly to the body of the bee, which is later perceived by the potential recruit bees with their antennae while following a dancer in the hive. Different plants yield nectar and pollen at different times. Without knowing the exact time, the bees would rather waste time and energy in checking a source for food. It is believed that the time the food is available in the field is conveyed to the recruit bees by the time the bee is dancing. The endogenous clock of the bee enables her to know the time and then visit the food source at appropriate time. This increases their foraging efficiency. The production of sound is yet another form of communication among honeybees. Earlier, it was believed that the bees are deaf to airborne sound unless it was intense enough to set up vibrations in the comb or other material upon which they are standing. These sound receptors are said to be located in the legs of the bee. But now it is assumed that honeybees can hear the airborne sound over a short range of less than a quarter of an inch by sound receptors located at the basal part of antennae known as Johnston's organ.
Communication among honeybees is one of the interesting phenomena of the nature. There might be thousands of more interesting facts which remain hidden. You as students, scholars and scientists have a duty to unveil the hidden mysteries of the nature.